Come on in, welcome to my home. A lot of people tell me that they've made a recipe, followed the directions just like Grandma did, and it doesn't taste the same. Is that you? Have you done that? Well, I got a big question for you. You say that you followed the recipe. Cool, but did you? Let's take just your normal tomato sauce recipe. So in the recipe it calls for a certain brand of tomatoes, but you don't like that. You've decided you want to go for 100% organic tomatoes, but your recipe doesn't taste your recipe doesn't taste exactly like the recipe that Grandma used to make. Well, because it's not. I hate to tell you this, but some of the actual things that you use will affect the taste. I have seen a lot of people talk about recipes, especially old recipes, that call for a brand that either is no longer made, or they call for a brand that they don't like the whatever is in it, so they get a different brand. It changes the recipe. It changes the recipe sometimes completely to something unrecognizable. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Neither. It's neither good nor bad. It's just different. So if you really want to follow a recipe, you're going to have to find out what that person actually used, and then you can follow the recipe 100%. And be careful of the infamous pinch or dash or whatever, because a lot of that has to do with the day, how the person's feeling, what ingredients that they use. I use a pinch of sea salt a lot of times, and that's simply because you can control the salt. But since you probably haven't tasted my recipes, unless you're one of my recipe tasters, which I miss you guys. Hey, recipe tasters, I miss you. I can hardly wait to get my stuff back out to you. So yeah, if you see one of those recipes, and a lot of times I've seen people say the whole, well, I didn't like that brand because it's a cheap brand, so I went to this other brand that they didn't use before, and it doesn't taste the same. Yeah, it won't taste the same. Hate to tell you that, but that is the truth. Once you start changing the ingredients, and I'm not just talking about the amounts of the ingredients, I'm talking once you start changing the ingredients, you are changing the recipe. And I get that question asked a lot. Can I substitute this for that? Well, probably. Will it taste the same? I have no idea unless I've tried it before. And that's the big difference, is the fact that unless I've tried it before, I don't know how much salt is in this brand of tomatoes versus that brand of tomatoes. Do not know. Recipes are sort of fickle that way. There are some things which you can sort of swap out, some things you can't. And as you cook more, bake more, make more recipes, you'll find those. You'll also find things that you just don't like. There are certain canned tomatoes that I do not like, so I don't use them. But I don't know about you. So when you see a recipe and you want it to taste exactly like the person who made that recipe, ask them what they use, and then use exactly what they made. And if you make it exactly like the recipe calls for, it should taste the same. It should. Well, what about you? Do you think about that all the time? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever wondered why maybe that's the reason that your recipe didn't taste just like Grandma's? Well, let me know down in the comments if you've ever experienced that. I'd be very, very interested to hear from you about that. And I hope I get to see you again the next time you stop by.